Did you know that just a small spoonful of the spice you use every day could raise your blood pressure, trigger an irregular heartbeat, and even block the effects of your heart medication? Hard to believe, right? But the truth is many people over 60 are slowly sabotaging their heart health. Not with fast food, but with everyday spices sitting quietly in their kitchen. So have you ever wondered, could that spice jar you reach for each morning actually be killing you slowly? This is not a scare tactic. This is a list of 5 common spices that many older adults still use daily, but in reality, they are quietly sending blood pressure through the roof and increasing the risk of stroke and heart failure, especially for anyone with a history of heart disease, diabetes, or those already taking blood pressure medication. If you are over 60 and care about your heart, your blood pressure, and your long-term health, now is the time to take a hard look at your spice cabinet. Number 1. Black pepper. Have you ever wondered why your blood pressure still swings up and down, even though you take your medication on time cook at home and stay away from fast food? Maybe there were times when, after eating nothing more than a simple bowl of soup, your heart started racing, your face felt warm, and a light sweat broke out. You told yourself it was the weather, or that you were tired or hadn't slept enough. But the real issue might have been what you sprinkled on that dish just before taking a bite. Black pepper. For years we've believed that black pepper is a harmless natural spice, with no salt, no sugar, and healthier than MSG or soy sauce. That belief is exactly what makes it dangerous. Because when something feels safe, no one pays attention to how much they use. Some people shake pepper over everything: boiled eggs, vegetable soup, stews, sandwiches. Others rely on seasoning blends like lemon pepper, Montreal steak, or garlic and herb, without realizing that the very first ingredient is black pepper. The compound that gives black pepper its warm, mildly spicy kick is called piperine. And this is where the trouble begins. Piperine can alter the way your body processes medication, especially blood pressure drugs, heart medication, and diabetes treatments. Which means if you are faithfully taking your pills, but still experiencing high blood pressure, unusual fatigue, or sudden symptoms, it may not be because the medicine has stopped working. It could be the black pepper quietly disrupting your entire treatment plan. Medical studies show that piperine can either raise or lower drug levels in the bloodstream. If it raises them, you risk side effects like dizziness, dangerously low blood pressure, or an abnormally slow heartbeat. If it lowers them, the medicine stops working, your blood pressure spikes, and your heart has to struggle to keep up. The result is a constant roller coaster, even if you are following your doctor's instructions to the letter. So here is the question: how much pepper have you eaten today without even noticing? Breakfast eggs with a dash of pepper, a bowl of chicken soup, a piece of pre-seasoned roast chicken, a snack labeled cracked pepper, a steakhouse-style sauce with a bold kick. Each of these could contain anywhere from a few milligrams to dozens of milligrams of piperine. Bit by bit, day after day, your body has to absorb it all. What makes matters worse is that the pepper used in many processed foods is not ordinary ground pepper, but concentrated piperine extract, which is far stronger than the pepper you shake at home. You will find it in barbecue marinades, hot sauces, peppered beef, jerky, frozen black pepper chicken, and ready-to-eat stir-fry meals from the supermarket. You might think you're having a wholesome dinner at home when in fact you are consuming more black pepper than you would dining out. For people with existing health issues, this is not just about indigestion or something being too spicy. This is about blood pressure being tampered with silently. It is about heart medication losing its effect, all because of one spice that seems so harmless. It is about fatigue, sleepless nights, headaches, and rapid heartbeat with no clear explanation. So how do you take control? You don't have to cut out black pepper completely, but you do need to reassess how much you are using. If you sprinkle it freely without measuring, stop. If you rely on spicy seasoning blends, read the ingredients carefully. If you often buy ready-made meals with black pepper or zesty flavors, think twice. And if you are on medication for blood pressure, heart disease, or diabetes, ask your doctor about possible interactions with piperine. Your body deserves more protection than blind trust in old habits. Instead of black pepper, you can turn to dried herbs like oregano, basil, or rosemary. They add flavor without interfering with medication. Sweet paprika can give your food rich color and depth without irritation. If you still crave heat, try roasted garlic or sweet peppers for a gentler kick. This is not a call to eat bland meals or to fear every spice. It is a reminder that sometimes the things we believe are safe and familiar are the very things undermining our best efforts to stay healthy. No one tells you that when you pick up a jar of pepper at the store. But now you know. And knowing gives you the choice to do differently. If you have ever wondered why your medication doesn't seem to work like it used to, or why careful eating has brought little improvement, think back to that day. Did you shake pepper over your meal? Did your food carry that subtle, warm spiciness you know so well? The answer might be sitting quietly in your spice rack, and maybe by tossing out one old jar of pepper you could be giving your heart another chance. Number 2. Taco BBQ Ranch Powder. 1 spoonful of taco seasoning can make ground beef taste just like the restaurant. A little ranch powder mixed with mayo can turn a plain coleslaw into something irresistible. A dusting of BBQ rub on grilled chicken can make dinner feel like summertime. These industrial seasoning powders are marketed as convenient, time-saving, and easy to use. What most people never consider is that just a few sprinkles can pack as much sodium as an entire packet of instant noodles. The real ingredients inside these powders are not as simple as their names suggest. A small packet of taco mix can contain up to 430 milligrams of sodium in just a single teaspoon serving. With BBQ rubs, the number can be even higher, especially in smoky or extra flavor versions. Ranch powder is often mixed into dips or dressings, but by itself already contains salt, sugar, coloring agents, and heavy concentrations of garlic and onion powder, both of which contribute to water retention and added strain on the circulatory system. Behind that fine, smoky, scented powder lies a long list of additives that few people ever read carefully: monosodium glutamate maltodextrin calcium, stearate artificial smoke flavor modified cornstarch silicon dioxide. These are not spices in the traditional sense, but a cocktail of compounds designed to create aroma, preserve flavor, and trick your palate into thinking the food is more satisfying than it really is. You may forget the names, but your body doesn't. The biggest issue is frequency. A packet of taco mix might stretch over 2 or 3 meals, but if you use it once a week, add ranch powder to salads, and rub BBQ seasoning on weekend meats, your sodium intake quickly adds up beyond safe levels. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 500 milligrams of sodium a day for healthy blood pressure. Just 3 spoonfuls of these powders can push you past that limit. Many people proudly say they don't eat salty food or soy sauce, but they don't keep track of these flavor packs. That is because they don't taste obviously salty. They taste good. The impression that the meat is richer or the sauce is bolder is really a chemical reaction happening in your mouth, tricking your brain into pleasure while your blood vessels, heart, and kidneys are forced to work overtime to process all that sodium and chemical load. If you have ever noticed mild swelling in your hands or feet after a flavorful meal, or felt your heart pounding unusually hard at night, it might not have been the main dish at all, but the seasoning powder coating it. Taco mix is used on both meat and vegetables. Ranch powder shows up in dips, salads, even mashed potatoes. BBQ powder is sprinkled on canned baked beans, sausages, and cold cuts. Once these powders are baked into the food, they stop feeling like seasoning and become an inseparable part of the dish, nearly impossible to measure or control. Some products on the market claim reduced sodium or natural flavor, but in reality those are small tweaks that leave the sodium and additives nearly as high as the originals. Cheap bulk seasonings are even worse, often failing to list every ingredient, especially when sold by the pound in discount stores without clear branding. So is there a way to keep the flavor without the trade-off? Yes, if you go back to single ingredient basics, pure garlic powder, clean onion powder with no additives, sweet paprika, mild white pepper, dill, oregano, thyme. When you mix them yourself in your own proportions, you can create blends that match your taste while staying in control of what goes in. Some people toast dried garlic, crush it, and mix it with dried parsley and a pinch of pink salt. The result is grilled meat that still tastes bold, but without the swelling or discomfort afterward. You don't have to give up the flavors you love. But if you start feeling unusually tired after dinner, if your blood pressure medication suddenly seems less effective, if you feel bloated and heavy, even after a modest meal, try cutting out these industrial seasoning powders for a few weeks. The difference might make you rethink the way you've been seasoning food for years. Don't let the thing that makes your food taste better be the reason your health keeps getting worse. And don't let convenience distract you from the quiet warnings your body gives you after each meal. Those little packets may be handy, fragrant, and addictive, but your body does not need artificial flavor. It needs rest. It needs protection. And you have the power to give it that starting today simply by stopping yourself before tearing open the next taco mix packet. Number 3, bouillon cubes and soup bases. If you can take a few minutes to check the cupboard where you keep those bouillon cube seasoning powders or jars of soup base, not to throw them out immediately, but to ask yourself how long you've been relying on them. Many people believe that cooking at home is enough to stay safe from industrial foods. But if every pot of soup, stew, pho, or even boiled vegetables gets a boost from bouillon cubes or soup base, that belief is no longer true. What you are using to add flavor is not real broth. Bouillon cubes and soup bases .fr, tiny compressed blocks to powdered jars are manufactured to mimic the taste of meat or bone stock, but without the natural ingredients you imagine. What you actually have in hand is usually a mix of salt-modified flour, hydrogenated palm oil, artificial meat flavor, caramel coloring, and a long list of additives you would never toss into your pot if you had to add them one by one. One bouillon cube, small enough to fit on your fingertip, can contain anywhere from 800 to 100 milligrams of sodium. For powdered or paste soup bases, a single teaspoon can deliver the same amount. And yet many people think of these products as nothing more than a shortcut for broth, so they never measure. A pot of soup with 2 cubes, a pot of porridge with 1 spoonful of base. Add a splash of fish sauce, a pinch of salt, a drizzle of soy sauce, and the sodium count has already blown past safe limits before you realize it. That rich, savory taste is the trap. It makes people think their food has the same substance it used to. But the flavor comes from maltodextrin and industrial MSG, not from real meat or vegetables. Some products even add flavor enhancers, synthetic chemicals that trick your tongue into feeling full and satisfied faster. The trade-off is that they can trigger water retention, force the heart to pump harder, and for people with weak blood vessels or a history of high blood pressure, that is a recipe for complications. Even big-name brands at the supermarket, often advertised as low-fat, cholesterol-free, or natural, reveal the truth if you look at the label more closely. No meat, no bones, no vegetables. Just chemistry. A clean-looking cube sealed in a tidy package may still contain hydrogenated palm oil, a trans fat banned in baby foods in many countries because of its link to clogged arteries. Plenty of people notice swelling in their hands or feet after meals, or feel uncomfortably full, tired, restless at night, or sense their heart racing lightly. Almost no one thinks the culprit could be that tiny cube dissolved in tonight's soup. But the body keeps track. And when it happens over and over, the result is a cardiovascular system that weakens quietly with no obvious warning signs. The danger of bouillon cubes and soup bases lies in the fact that they don't taste offensive. They create the illusion of home-cooked traditional, just like mom made, even though they are products of modern chemistry. And the people who use them most are usually those with steady, predictable eating habits who trust what they've been cooking with for 10 or 20 years. If you want deep flavor without harming your heart, go back to simpler methods. Use dried onions, roasted garlic, dried mushrooms, ginger, and slow-simmered vegetables to create true broth with natural sweetness and no additives. You can also boil meat or bones and freeze the stock in small portions for later use. It takes a little more effort, but at least you know exactly what is in your pot. And don't forget the blandness you may notice when you first quit bouillon is only temporary. Human taste buds adapt. After a few weeks of cutting back, you will start to notice the natural sweetness of carrots, the fragrance of celery, the warmth of ginger, flavors that were once buried under industrial powder. Sometimes protecting your health is not about big changes, but small ones. One bouillon cube a day may feel like a habit too small to matter, but that same habit left unexamined could be the final link that pushes your blood pressure out of control. And at that point, no matter how strong your medication is, it cannot fight against what you put into your body every single day, regularly, unconsciously, and under the false belief that it was harmless. Number 4, artificial sweeteners. If you use artificial sweeteners every day, even if it's just a small packet for your coffee or a few drops in your morning oatmeal, try cutting them out for a week. Not to quit forever, but to see how your body responds. Because there are sweeteners that don't add calories and don't spike blood sugar right away, but they quietly interfere with your metabolism, nervous system, and even your gut microbiome in ways that aren't easy to notice. Sucralose, aspartame, saccharin, acesulfame K, and the newer ones like allulose or neotame are all marketed as safe, FDA-approved 0 calories, and they become companions for many people trying to manage their weight or blood sugar. Some doctors even recommend them instead of sugar. But life outside the doctor's office isn't that simple. Here's what most people don't talk about. These sweeteners aren't sweet in a natural way. Their sweetness can be 100 to 600 times stronger than cane sugar. When they hit your taste buds, they send a powerful signal to your brain that says, "This is super sweet." Even though your body isn't actually getting energy from it, the pancreas may still release insulin as if sugar had been consumed, which can disrupt blood sugar levels. For people with metabolic issues, this is risky. It can leave you hovering in a near hypoglycemia state, making you dizzy, unfocused, or shaky after meals without knowing why. On top of that, studies show that artificial sweeteners can alter gut bacteria. Sucralose and saccharin, for example, may reduce the number of beneficial microbes, which affects digestion, nutrient absorption, and can increase low-grade inflammation. Long-term users often deal with bloating, indigestion, mild diarrhea, or constipation without realizing that their daily 0-calorie sugar packet may be the cause. Aspartame, once hailed as a modern breakthrough, is also one of the most debated. Under heat, like in a hot cup of coffee, it can break down into methanol and formaldehyde compounds nobody wants in their body. Even if the levels remain within safe limits, the problem is frequency. A little every day doesn't give your body much of a break. Plenty of people turn to artificial sweeteners to avoid sugar, but then end up drinking 2 cans of diet soda a day, adding sugar-free syrups to yogurt, and chewing sugar-free gum with xylitol. The result: fatigue, restless sleep, irregular heartbeat, mood swings. And those symptoms often get blamed on age, the weather, or dehydration. Rarely on the morning coffee with 2 packs of Sweet and Low or that harmless drop of liquid stevia. Many think they've chosen the safer option. But swapping one thing for another doesn't always mean you're doing what's best. The real questions should be, does it have long-term effects? And does it make me dependent? Because the truth is, many people have lost the ability to taste the natural sweetness of fruit, their palate trained only for the sharp artificial sweetness of replacements. If you want to cut back without feeling deprived, start small. 1 packet instead of 2. Skip the artificial sweetener in your salad dressing. Drop a few diet sodas from your weekly routine. Try simpler alternative cinnamon in your oatmeal, a splash of real vanilla, or just getting used to the natural taste of food again. Your body doesn't need fake sweetness to function well. In fact, that illusion of sweetness, even without calories, is what leaves millions of people caught in cycles of fatigue, brain fog, and unstable energy without knowing why. There's nothing wrong with having believed in 0-calorie sweeteners. But if you've ever felt like you're eating healthy and still not seeing real improvements in blood pressure, heart rhythm, or sleep, maybe it's time to take a break from them for a few weeks. You don't need to take anyone's word for it. Just listen to your body. once it's no longer being tricked by a sweetness that isn't real. Number 5. Liquid smoke. The smell of tender smoky meat, that hint of charred wood, often makes a meal feel warmer and somehow more authentic. But what many people don't realize is that this smoky flavor doesn't always come from a charcoal grill or a wood fire. It often comes from a little bottle called liquid smoke, something you can easily pick up at the grocery store, or that may already be mixed into the ready-to-eat meals you buy from Costco, Walmart, or even a local restaurant. Liquid smoke is made by condensing wood smoke, then filtering, cooling, and diluting it into liquid form. It sounds natural, but don't let the wording fool you. What's left after this process isn't just flavor. It can also contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH, compounds found in smoke that research has linked to potential liver, kidney, and nervous system damage when they build up over time. Some smoke flavoring powders and oils don't even go through proper filtering, leaving behind higher levels of PAH than the body can safely handle. While the FDA does allow liquid smoke to be used in limited amounts, that doesn't mean it's completely safe, especially for people with sensitive health conditions or those taking certain medications. The tricky part is that you often can't tell when you're consuming liquid smoke. It doesn't taste spicy, sweet, or salty. It just creates that grilled over charcoal sensation. Smoked chicken, prepackaged BBQ meat, sausages, barbecue-flavored snacks, and even bottled meat sauces can all contain it. And because it's used in such tiny amounts, it usually shows up at the very end of the ingredient list. Easy for consumers to overlook. The effects of liquid smoke don't happen overnight. They creep in slowly, passing through the liver and kidneys, settling into fat tissue, and creating a low-grade but persistent stress on the immune system. Studies suggest that regular use, especially as part of a diet heavy in processed foods, may contribute to chronic low-level inflammation, a known driver of heart disease, high blood pressure, and even cognitive decline. If you've grown attached to that smoky flavor, the easiest swap is to use spices like smoked paprika, roasted garlic powder, or dried herbs like rosemary and thyme. When roasted or grilled, they release a natural warmth and depth without needing to pour fake smoke into your food. Slow roasted onions and garlic can also create a rich sauce base without relying on added smoke flavoring. Don't assume that just a little bit is harmless. Sometimes it's precisely because the amount is so small that you don't notice. Yet it's there every day, every week, every month. And for your body, that can add up to a burden worth paying attention to. One bottle of liquid smoke might last an entire year, but the impact on your health could last much longer. The real question isn't, does it taste good, but does your body actually need it? If you've ever felt run down without knowing why, maybe it's time to take a second look at that small bottle sitting quietly in your pantry.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.